Hello and welcome back. We are mining for diamonds today, but as always, the Reddit stories are the real games here. Grab a drink and let's spill the tea. Our first story will be from subreddit entitled People, and the title is Free Food. Okay, so here is the story. My wife and I have the questionable habit of feeding strays. We have bird feeders all over our property, put out cookies for squirrels, and leave food and water in our backyard for any strays that wander by. The latter is the reason I'm writing this. So I pull out a fresh bowl of dry food and a large pan of water every day between 5 and 6 in the evening. I go out every morning and refill the water bowl and toss whatever food remains into my yard, usually just crumbs. A week ago, my wife took out some trash and, when she returned, asked me if I had forgotten to put out food. I walked outside and, sure enough, the food was empty. Well, I am retired, so maybe I forgot. I refilled it and went back inside. The thing is, it happened again every night for the rest of the week. I made the point of double checking before going to bed, and the damn bowl was always empty. Cut to the chase, and it turns out our new neighbor had noticed our habit of leaving food out for strays. So, not wanting to turn down a boon to her budget, she was putting her little dog in a harness and lowering him over the fence, separating our yards. Then she let out slack on the rope until he could reach our backboard, let him empty the bowl, and then reel him back in. Once I caught her at it, we had a brief conversation. If you can use the words to describe me asking questions at reasonable volume and her screaming nonsense for replies. Finally, I called her landlord, a friend of a friend, and asked if we could have a word with her. Just let her know that this is not how to be a good neighbor. He listened to me and then asked, "She has a dog?" Turns out he doesn't rent to people with dogs. Cats, yes. Dogs, no. He drove over and caught her with a dog in the living room. Now she has 30 days to move out. Not my finest one, but how was I to know that the guy would do that? Okay, this is a very relaxing story because yes, it wasn't even a revenge. Well, it's not a revenge subreddit, but it's just silly because if she was a nicer person and said, "Yes, of course, I will stop doing that with my dog to your food that you buy with your own money," then the guy wouldn't have called the landlord and she would still be able to stay in that living place. I don't know if it's a house or a flat, probably a house because it mentions backyards. For example, the comments, airlifting your dog via a pulley system to get free food? Weird. I feel bad for her dog. Another comment, I'm just picturing the dog hoisted in midair, waiting to be hauled back or to his home after eating cat food. Also, cat food isn't even good for dogs. And the last comment is, I'm picturing a full Mission Impossible scenario. Comments very like hilarious. Everyone agreed that she had what was coming for her. And yeah, she was really entitled to their free food ceremony. And poor dog, because I imagine something small. You don't need much to feed them. And she can buy her own dry food. But also, I don't think it was cat food because it wasn't mentioned, just that it was dry food. But okay, on to the next story. Our next story comes from subreddit Petty Revenge. The title is Discovered by accident that my ex fiance is still using my employee discount. Here is the story. Called my ISP today for general Wi-Fi troubleshooting charge and inadvertently discovered that my employee discount is apparently still being used by my ex-fiance at our former residence, which I wasn't aware he was still residing at. The representative asked me if I'd like to terminate the discount at the former residence and if I'd like to have it applied to my current address. Why, yes, I would. Kind sir, thank you very much. This is a man who believed banging his face against wall was acceptable behavior and who also attempted to force intercourse on another occasion. Even when I declined and said no, he still tried to force intimacy and went on a tirade about how I owed him. Dude isn't exactly suffering financially either. He earns over $160,000 per year in salary, an additional 3,000 per month from a side hustle and only eats up a few hours per month, another 1,500 per month in profit from an investing property, and also recently pocketed over 100,000 from the sale of another property. While I can afford an extra $10 a month for insurance service. While I earn a comfortable salary, I also have a medical condition that has me on a regular immunotherapy treatment, whereas he's totally healthy and able-bodied. I also work for longer hours than he does, not to mention I'm in far more stressful profession than he is. One small additional step towards administrative closure and course correction. One small recalibration in the ecosystem of rights and wrongs. Okay, I don't think that's much of revenge. Yes, it's extremely petty, but I think it was more petty writing this all out. I don't think the guy will even notice that he was using her like employee discount. My theory is that they applied for it when they were still, together, and when they were separated, they just forgot. I don't think he remembered it. Also, there were a lot of numbers. I don't like reading numbers, but okay. One of the comments that I highlighted, you didn't have to give us a breakdown of his income nor your house to justify cutting you off. None of that is relevant. It's your discount, not his, and you aren't together anymore. Period. Yeah, period. But I think she gave us a rundown of his income and just her financial situation and her health situation in general. So he wouldn't seem less of a jerk than he already is. Honestly, I don't think he even noticed. I doubt it. Our next story will come from the Am I the Asshole subreddit. Everyone knows it. It's a classic of Reddit stories. And this title, it kind of threw me off. So here it is. Am I the asshole for refusing to stop co-sleeping with my 14-year-old daughter? As you can now imagine why the title threw me off, but let's get into the story. My 14-year-old daughter went through something completely horrific a few months ago. It involves someone we all trusted, and our entire family has been completely shaken since. She's been in a spiral. She pulled away from most of her friends and stopped participating as much in school. She also dropped out of orchestra and stopped playing her violin, which used to be the love of her life. I'm not really sure how to move forward sometimes, but we have been taking it one step a day. She's been in therapy for the last 2 months and has started to make some very solid progress. That's during the day, so night seems to trigger everything that happened again. And my sweet girl, who never even needed a nightlight when she was a kid, is now deadly afraid of the dark. She's been sleeping in my husband's and nice room every night. This has been easiest for everyone since we all inevitably start to freak out whenever she's alone when it's dark out. She also tends to wake up and vomit during the night sometimes right now, and it makes it easy for me to help her quickly. The problem right now, so, is that my husband informed me in front of our daughter last night that she needs to learn how to sleep in her own room again. He said that it was fun in the beginning for her to sleep with us, but she needs to move on now because it's inappropriate for it to continue. I told him that's something we're working on because we are. I have brought it up to her therapist before, and she's been able to go into the hall to use the bathroom and struck out all by herself lately. You can continued saying that she'd never get over it if I continued to baby her and she needs a little push. I just kind of lost it. This is where I'm pretty sure I fucked up. He was being reasonable in his own way, and now he was, but everything has been so much lately, and now we need to start trying to help her work through some of these things, but I need her to at least sleep right now. And with everything else we're doing, I kind of feel like just like having one place right now, where she has us in reach all the time is important. It didn't come out like that, so I yelled at him in front of our daughter, told him he doesn't get to make the decision alone, and if it bothers him so much, he can sleep on the couch. He did decide to sleep on the couch, and he's doing so again tonight. I'm pretty sure I owe him an apology, but my mind hasn't changed when it comes to our daughter. Not really sure what to do or who was in the wrong here. Okay, now after reading the story and not just taking the title into account, not the asshole. Absolutely not the asshole because your child went through something really traumatic and you can't help her in any way, then no, any meaningful way to her than just letting her sleep with you. And yes, you can pay for her therapy bills, you can make some accommodation for her, but the only actual way of helping her is making her feel safe right now. And it just so happens that it's in your own bedroom. I have read through the comments and some things that the father was upset about it because he couldn't get some alone time with his wife, which I think it's probably true. But I think she's a bit of an asshole for yelling at him. But he is a bigger asshole for starting this conversation in front of his traumatized daughter. And no, this conversation could have been private, away from traumatized child. A few of the comments is this issue is way beyond the subs page. I don't think anyone is an asshole here. Just a lot of hard stuff going on. Generally think this is question only your family and your daughter's scares team can answer. What do her psychiatrist, therapist, or the real doctor say? Um, Not the asshole. 2 months in the mind of a child is like yesterday. Please listen to her therapist. Moving too fast will be detrimental to your daughter. I don't think it has been 2 months. It's mentioned in the post it's been a few months ago, but I don't really know the difference between a few months ago and a few months ago. Honestly, English sometimes is too complicated for me. And the last comment that I highlighted, not the asshole. And the last comment that I highlighted, it was not the asshole, it was completely inappropriate and really dick move for him to say that in front of your daughter. It should have been a private conversation between the two of you. I bet your reaction would have been much calmer. I don't think her reaction would have been much calmer, maybe a bit, but I don't think she would be calm at all. Okay, so on to the next story. Our next story is from Best of Updates. I really like it, but it's kinda old. It was from 2015, but let's see what it's all about. My circumcision went horribly wrong many years ago. Parents received settlement. Now I am 18 and they're refusing to give me the money. The original post was on May 17th, 2015. Alright, so as a result, I have part of my penis removed, including the entire tip. I know it's a hospital that settled with my parents. They always told me that the money is investing for my future. I'm 18 now. I want to use it for my education this year, but they haven't given me any details. They keep telling me that it's so soon and they will do it in due time. Is there a way for me to find out where this money is and access it? And was the money required to be put somewhere safe for me, or could it be that my parents paid it and are just buying time with me? Seattle, VA. Some of their real comments. Commenter. I'm betting that the money is gone. This sadly happens a lot. I'd outright ask them if I spend it all. Their reaction should tell you everything. OOP. I see. I will bring this up to Ned and ask for a straight answer. This is so unfair of them as I counted on this money for my future. If I knew it doesn't exist, I would have planned differently. Jasper Wall. 19% of the time, when parents act shifty about something like this, the money has been gone for 10 years. And prepare yourself for that possibility. That's not to say that your parents necessarily did anything illegal. Even in a custodial account, your parents are allowed to spend that money on things that benefit you. Education expenses, private lessons, new clothing for you, even prorated portions of their rent. They can waste the money on fine wines and couple messages. But if they spend the money in ways that benefited you, it's not outright illegal. Your first hope at tracking it down is the IRS. If it's in an interest bearing account in your name, then the financial provider will have to produce 1099s in your name. Oh, okay. Okay, this is helpful. Do I need to go down to an IRS office or can I track this down over the phone? Or do I need a lawyer to do this for me? Notes a commenter. We a lawyer here. There must have been a minor settlement case filed. The money was supposed to go into a blocked account to avoid the exact things that happened to you. It's not your parents' money, it's yours. If it wasn't handled properly, then there is a lawyer or a law firm out there who is responsible. If you go to clerk or the court, you can get the details. Then start looking for a malpractice attorney to help you. I'm sorry this happened. It wasn't supposed to be money for your parents to squander. Update, May 20, 2015. That's 3 days later. This is an update to my older post. I talked to my parents. Turns out they used the money to buy the house to live and start the business that my dad runs. My dad showed me that I have ownership of the business as well relative to the amount that my money was invested in. He said he will start paying me money from the profits, which I will use for education. They say since I'm an only child, all of this will come to me anyway. I'm happy about all of this. I had prepared myself to share that the money is gone, but now I feel bad for ever adopting my parents like that. This is actually a very sweet story. I too was expecting for this all to be like parents seeing easy money and like, yay, some leeway, we can finally have something nice. But no, this person's um parents are actually nice and smart. They invested their money into something useful for all of them, and the money invested, they will become more money in the future. And as the LP is the only child, they will just inherit everything, and their money will come back tenfold for them. It's a really nice story. Okay, on to the next story. Our next story will be another short story from entitled People Subreddit, and the story is my Coke habit got me in trouble. Well, not really, but I did have to pee in a cup. So it's been a long weekend. My two sons and I were helping my daughter move. It was a nice and warm weekend, and so on our last load to her house, I decided to treat the crew and myself to some Slurpees from the local 7-Eleven. Much to my dismay, the Coke dispenser was during a Zoe cycle and wasn't available. The rest of the crew liked the other flavors, and so they were satisfied, but I had to settle for a Dr. Pepper instead. We get to her new house, got everything unloaded, and I peel off as I have to get to work in a few hours. Quick shower, get into my uniform, I'm a paramedic, and since it's been a while and I'm really craving a Slurpee, I stopped at the same 7-Eleven on my way to the station, as the machine had finished cycling and was running. Yay! As I'm paying, the clerk, who sees me in the all the time, jokes, "Had to come back for one, didn't ya?" To which I replied, "Yeah, this coke habit is a crutch." I wish I hadn't made a joke as some woman heard it and started ranting about how I shouldn't do drugs. I tried to explain the joke to her. No, I have a thing for Coca-Cola Slurpees to the point that it's a habit of getting them. Coca-Cola is often shortened to Coke. I have a habit of getting Coke Slurpees. Coke habit? Nope, woman would not listen. He started writing more about how EMA staff should not be taking drugs, and then she's going to report me to the department and stormed off. I got to the station and I went straight away to the captain's office. I explained what happened and that the woman's written to report me. He said if she did, we'd deal with it then. He also asked me if I were to be drug tested, would the result come back clean. I said that they would without hesitation. He sent me on my way. In the middle of dinner, the captain calls me into his office and says that I will have to go home for the rest of the shift. I'm then to report one of the local labs in the area and take a drug screening, and that I'm not to come in until the results are processed. Typically 3 days. Yes, the miserable twat waffle reported my ass, and I'm put on the inactive roster. The results are in. Naturally, they came back clean, and so the captain called me yesterday and said that I was clear to come back. Since this was a false report and I hadn't done anything illegal or dangerous, I'm still getting paid for the mini staycation, and I'm back to work later today. Well done, lady. All you achieved is wasting taxpayer dollars getting me tested for making a joke and let me sit at home playing Minecraft while binge watching some of the shows I have been meaning to catch up on. Way to go, you miserable bitch. This is actually a funny story. It's funny because nothing serious happened and our OP still got the money that they got for a bit of vacation. I wouldn't recommend this method of getting some weekend from your job because who knows, maybe you ate a poppyseed muffin and the drug test might not conclude for you, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend this method. Just do not try this at home, okay? Some of the comments. The thing that annoys me is she will live her life thinking she was right, and not a noisy idiot who short stopped with an ambulance queue. Yeah, actually, there was one less crew to be on call. Another comment. If she had listened to any of the conversation he had with Clark, she would have understood it was a joke. She only heard coke habit and ran with it. Too bad they can't find her for false reports and wasting people's time and money. People need to mind their business. Yeah. And the last highlight comment is wait until she learns that in some parts of the US it is common to call every soft drink a Coke. As in hand me an orange Coke, will you? Coke habits around there, 3, 4, 5 a day. I don't drink that much of soft drinks, but yeah, some people drink a lot of them. Imagine that you take Coke a few times a day. Um, this is just for the drinks. Okay, on to the next story. Our next story is from the Am I the Asshole subreddit? And the title is Am I the asshole for taking my niece home after my sister left her with me at the party and disappeared? I like those stories. It's family drama, and I like family drama. Reading about it, not in real life. Okay, so here's the story. I'm 31F, and my sister has a habit of treating me like automatic childcare at family events. She'll ask me to watch my 7-year-old niece for 20-30 minutes or an hour, then disappear for a few. I usually let it go because I love my niece, but I'm getting really tired of being turned into surprise childcare. Last week was our cousin's birthday at the park. I only planned to stay about an hour because I had work early the next morning. My sister showed up late, handed my niece sweater and juice box and asked me to keep an eye for her for 30 minutes while she was taking care of something at work on the phone. That was around quarter past 2 or 2:15. By 3:30, I had got my niece, taken her to the bathroom twice, dealt with a scrapped knee, and calmed her down after a bounce house meltdown. My sister was nowhere. I called twice and texted once with no answer. Then my mom told me my sister had left the park with two friends to get more alcohol. That's when I got really mad. Leaving the park is not the same thing as stepping away for a minute. My niece was tired and wanted to leave. I told my mom I was taking her with me, texted my sister that her daughter was with me, and took her back to my apartment. I made her mac and cheese, put on a movie, and she was fine. About 20 minutes later, my sister called furious, saying I had no right to take her daughter anywhere without permission, and that I scared her when she came back and couldn't find us. I told her maybe next time don't dump your kid on me and leave the park without saying a word. My mom agrees my sister was wrong, but says I made it worse by taking my niece away instead of waiting there. Still, she was tired and wanted at home badly. My sister is now telling people I used her daughter to make a point. I don't think I did anything unsafe. I think I got stuck babysitting without being asked and took care of a tired kid when her mom disappeared. I was the asshole. Um, I'm sorry, the last part. Uh, my sister is now telling people I use her daughter to make a point. So you do understand that there was a point needed to be made, yeah? You do understand that there was a point and then it was made. Perhaps you should look into that point, yeah? Um, I also don't understand that sister reaction if, come on, you don't even see your child. What's the point? What's the difference if your child is going to be in front of you while you're not looking after it and you're not even knowing where it is? Or if your child is with your sister at home? Like, I don't see any difference. Some of the comments. It's okay for her to leave, but not you. And if she wanted to know where you were going, she could have picked up the phone. She wasn't scared. She was angry that you didn't do what she wanted. Not the asshole. Not the comment. Not the asshole. Anyone who says you are wrong can watch her next. The fact that your sister left her child and could be bothered to update you with where she was or even just check her phone isn't her. If she didn't been paying the slightest bit of attention, she would have seen your text and responded. Yes, they are absolutely right because you left your child with someone. You check that your child is still where you think you left them. Maybe that person had an accident. Well, let's hope not, but anything can happen in the short amount of time. Like, the child scraped her knee and like had a full meltdown in like 45 minutes. Do you think nothing can happen to a person? That's really inconsiderate and kind of stupid. So I agree with the comments. Anyway, that will be all for today. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I will see you all on our next thread. Bye!